What do you think of me now as an engaged man?
If you get married, it ain't lasting. She's getting remarried for sure.
Me and Taylor don't joke about divorces.
You have Miss Texas as your wife, so that's your problem. If I had to choose, I would rather poop on the sidewalk than...
Okay. I'm seeing the angle of where you're going.
I mean, obviously. But
What is your best advice for people to grow their wealth if they don't have the income they desire?
we have to go to like communism.
Hot topic, hot debate.
Not everyone is meant to be successful.
Really?
No.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another amazing episode of Don't Be Sour. I'm your host, Max Tuning, and we are here with the 8-time returning champion. This will be the 9th time.
I'm also a host.
Yeah, you pretty much are.
I'm the captain now.
People keep telling me I should make you
Let's do it.
a host. But, dude, the reliability of Joe getting to places...
I'm always here for a pod, though. Sometimes.
Would I have to start splitting the very little revenue that I get from this?
$20 a week, dude.
Yeah, the podcast, like definitely my investment in this podcast is significantly higher than how much money this podcast makes, but I just like it. By the way, do not kick your feet out because I have this boot on, and if you kick my toe, I'll transport another planet.
Okay.
All right, guys, it's going to be an amazing episode here. And Joe, although you've been on this podcast 8 times, we have new listeners coming in all the time, and they're probably like, they've definitely never heard of you.
Yeah.
You're essentially low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
Why don't you give the people who don't know a brief background, history, explanation of who you are and why you're a constant guest on this podcast?
Because I'm a cool dude.
Okay.
Used to be a car YouTuber for a brief period of time.
That's what you're starting with? Is that you're a YouTuber?
At one point. That's how they would know me. No one's going to be like, oh, Joe, the software developer from Houston? No. Software developer, do a lot of cool tech stuff, also into cars, started a YouTube channel, used to live with Christian Guzman. Max and them were friends. Me and Max became friends. We lived together for a while. Yeah.
Honestly.
Like an annoying fly that won't go away, you know?
Honestly, I kind of came in and like, I stole you from Christian.
I thought you were a doucher. Turns out you're not a doucher.
I know, like, did we just become best friends?
Yep.
And so, okay, I don't think people would know you from YouTube, bro.
I have like almost, I get
To be
more
honest,
views than you do.
I think you're so non-posting on social media that, unfortunate as this is, you're the guy in Max's YouTube videos, guy in Christian's YouTube.
No. We've been places where I get recognized and you don't.
You post one Instagram story a week.
Pretty much.
Post one YouTube video every quarter.
6 months.
You post one Instagram photo.
Never. I don't like social media. I don't like it. I like making videos. I don't like being on social media.
But he does hate that he's not at 50,000 followers on Instagram.
It does piss me off. I was at 50, and then it just keeps going down.
It's like you were full erect at 50, and now you're flaccid again.
I'm semi-erect now. But
why do you think you keep coming back on this? Why do you think I keep inviting you on this podcast?
Because we are good talking people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the feedback has honestly been...
I know. People like it. I don't know why.
Lovely.
I know I got to get back into it now, though. I'm like...
In season 3, this is what we're on right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're gonna start seeing Joe a lot, like
because Max ran out of guests.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I really did. And you know what's the worst is people that I message and then just left me on scene. I'll even throw out a name one time. Throw out a name. I have DM'd. I think definitely 2 times, but absolutely 2 times, maybe 3 times. Each time this person has opened it really close to when I sent it. Seen, never responded. Both times.
Yep.
Jeffree Star.
Yeah, he's too big to fly out here into your podcast.
Why would he open my DM?
Maybe he thinks he's going to get free candy.
I'll give him free candy. And
it's
then
probably not even him. It's probably like a PR person. I don't think he's big enough that he probably has somebody do that for him.
Why do you think... I feel like, no, influencers continually will do their own social media, but celebrities...
I think they log in together. I don't think influencers will.
Why do you think celebrities are like I feel like they're like a whole different type of... They're like us, but cooler.
It's what they do for a living. I'm saying it's a business at that point. Like they have a manager that's doing their deals for them. That person's fielding all their inputs.
But why, for example, Eminem, Jim Carrey or something. I don't think Jim Carrey has an Instagram. Well, but like, why aren't they like, hey guys, what I'm making this sandwich for breakfast? Check it out. Like, why don't
they're older? They don't care. They also have the money. They don't need the money.
Older. Okay, Jonah Hill. You don't see him like
they have money. It's old money. You don't. Okay, to be fair, you don't see the CEO of fucking Chase Bank also on Instagram and shit. Like this.
He's probably not like
people that want to appear like they're successful on social media. I don't think truly successful people care about their following and shit. It's just, it doesn't matter.
I think building a community is so cool.
I agree. I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just saying like truly successful. Like Jeff Bezos does not have a huge Instagram following. Like he doesn't care. I mean, he probably does have a big Instagram following, but he's not looking for social media.
Influencers are like literally, you could get a stadium packed more with some of these influencers than you could if like.
Yeah, but when you're worth $20 billion, you don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't need to fill a stadium. I go buy a yacht. Have fun with your stadium.
It's not all about money, Joe.
Sometimes it is.
Anything cool recently happened with you? So like, what's the? So it's been like it's been almost.
I got my new truck.
4 months.
I got the Raptor R since we talked last. Yeah, that thing's cool.
New car. No video on that yet. Wait.
No.
Wait. Since season 2, you've been saying that video's going to come out. That's the video.
No, that was the Raptor. That was the yellow truck. That did come out. Yeah. Since we filmed last time, I got the black truck.
Okay. Raptor R.
Haven't filmed it yet. No.
Sick truck.
Sick truck. Yeah.
Cooler than the TRX. I think visually, it's obviously it is faster, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah. Is it cooler? Yes. I think the TRX is a better truck.
Joe just hates the interface on the TRX.
Uconnect is the worst thing ever made. Uconnect is the biggest pile of shit spaghetti code software anyone has ever come up with in their lives, and FCA should just go pay somebody to redo it. You know, I don't understand how it's that bad.
There's a lot with technology. So like my Jeep, for example, I probably once a month, it will just not connect. So first of all, I'm not a wireless CarPlay guy. I need to plug it in because I want to charge my phone, and I don't trust air. Like how does data flow through the air? No one knows. Okay. But sometimes it just won't connect, and I have to reset. Yeah. And I'm just so used to it now. I'm like, oh, got to reset it again. Yeah.
My TRX, I had it for 4 months. I had to reset it 4 times. My Ford, never. My Porsche, never. They work. BMW, great. Mercedes, fine. Uconnect is the worst thing that has ever been put in a car. And if you look online, everyone hates it. No one is like, oh, Uconnect's great. I don't understand.
Why do you think they keep coming out with this shitty technology?
And Jeep people are stupid and they keep buying it.
I will keep buying it.
I actually don't know. It can't be more than like a couple $1 million to fully rebuild that. Do like Nissan went to Polyphon, the people that made Gran Turismo. They did that. GM, I think, used Fortnite developers. Like Epic Games did the new Hummers interface. Like everything in the new Hummer is
You can play Fortnite in the Hummer?
You can play the game, but it's all there. I don't understand like why these companies are like, no, we need to keep Uconnect in-house. Like, no, you don't. Just go.
It's the same reason why, I mean, how many times would Canon come out with new cameras, and Sony would introduce a new camera, and I'm like, why can't the goddamn screen flip around?
Real quick, can we piss off? I know we have some camera guys that watch this. Can we just unanimously say at this point,
here we go,
Sony won. For a while there, it was back and forth. It was like, oh, Canon's better, Sony's better. I think at this point, like Sony won.
See,
every YouTuber's on Sony at this point. All the major photographers are on Sony at this point.
But there's a reasoning for that, I think, because I think Sony it's cheaper than Canon.
Not anymore. They're about the same price.
Like a smaller body than Canon.
Yeah, better battery life.
But I will say,
more features.
Yeah, but I can noticeably, like when Oz would film with the Canon, and really Nabil would film with the Canon. Some people are like big Canon fanboys. Like
Nabil's Sony now,
but I can noticeably see a difference in the footage. And yes, I can. Yes, I can.
No. Maybe I'll give you that at the beginning of the debate. Maybe, but now, no. Like now, everything's shot in a log. You can make the cameras look the same. There's no difference.
Okay, just like
I think Sony has better dynamic range.
So just like I think no one can tell the difference between all the fancy waters and tap water. Yeah. You think no one can tell the difference between the cameras?
I think a professional photographer that shot on a Nikon, Canon, and Sony, same picture, and edited all three, there's no way anyone would be able to be like, that's the Canon.
Even with your big brain, you couldn't?
No.
Okay.
Just visually, no. But yeah, for a while that was a hot topic. I think at this point, Sony has won.
Yeah, no, I really like. I mean, we use all Sony A7S3s on here. I vlog with it. I have really no complaints. I wish it had like a built-in ND filter. That'd be nice.
That's a DSLR thing though. The body's not big enough to pull that off.
How can they do it on the tiny little hand?
Because that sensor's so small, the ND filter only has to be. But like the sensor on this thing's that you have to fit an ND filter. They can't do that,
bro. If we can do the technology that we're doing in the world,
it might come soon. It's just so far they haven't been able. You have to make the body way bigger, or they have to come out with some new way to do ND. Because the problem is the ND filters just move them closer and further, like the two to make it darker and lighter. Mm-hmm. That's how the FX6 works. But it can't move out of the way. Like you can't turn it off.
Joe, we're boring everyone with this.
Yeah, all right.
No one cares about all that.
Someone will comment.
So you got a new truck. Mm-hmm. You're full on apartment living.
I've been apartment living now for 4 months.
You're kind of torn. You love it. You hate it. Kind of a combination.
I love it until I love Senna more than anything in the world.
That's his dog.
It's my dog. I love the apartment when I don't have Senna with me. When she's staying at my mom's house or she's at like the groomer, apartment's great. But Senna makes it a little hard. She's a little reactive to other dogs right now. So if there's another dog in the elevator, she freaks out. If we're walking, she freaks out. Taking her on walks like at this point probably 4 times a day. Gonna go down the elevator, come up. It's fine. It's just like at the house, Senna maybe accounted for like 2 hours of my time, maybe an hour of my time to do stuff for her. Obviously she's with me all day, but like to actually go out of my way to like play with her and stuff, I would say like an hour a day at the house that I like would take out of my day to go play with Senna and throw the ball or whatever. The apartment, it's probably like 3 hours a day.
So like when
Like
you're
just taking her out to pee is a 20-minute experience.
Yeah, are you like
Yeah.
you have to
And then if it's raining, there's no like I have to go with her. I'm getting wet. She doesn't like the rain. It's a whole thing. So
Has she pooped because you live in the city? Has she pooped on the sidewalks?
she pees on the sidewalk a lot. She won't poop on the sidewalk. She will pee on.
That's probably how I would be too.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
would
would
think the other way though, because like your poo's not going to splash.
That's
If
true.
I had to choose, I would rather poop on the sidewalk than pee. But
Yeah, no, I never really thought about that. Okay, so yeah, you know, the whatever the future is for your living experience, we'll have to
I'll probably go back to a house.
for 1000%.
I mean, obviously, but like sooner than I thought. I thought I'd be in the apartment for probably like 3 years.
No way.
Now I'm thinking, but unfortunately the rates are 9%, so I'm not gonna be buying a house anytime soon.
Yeah, pretty garbage. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the all the updates on you.
Not a whole lot. Just working a lot.
I'm just working, making money.
Yeah.
Still got new cars coming in.
The newest edition, the 3RS, is here. It's at the port. So they ship it from Germany to Houston port, and that sits there for a couple days, and then they bring it to the. I should have it by the time this episode goes live. I should have that car.
Listen to this shit, guys. Joe told me that he got this Porsche, got all the top tier package, sorted price, high to low, check, wants all the premium stuff.
Yeah.
The premium brakes are red. No, they're yellow.
Yeah.
Their premium brakes are yellow. Okay. And only if you buy these premium brakes, which are how much more money?
$9,000.
$9,000 more dollars to stop faster. $9,000
Carbon ceramics, yeah.
and it makes it yellow.
Yeah.
But since Joe got red wheels,
Yeah.
he is now going to take his $9,000 brake upgrade that you would only know because they're yellow,
Yeah.
and paint them black.
From the factory.
Dude, that's how you know you're rich.
Even crazier. So $9,000 to get the yellow brakes, and then $2,000 to paint the yellow brakes black.
Oh my god, bro!
So
you can
it's
paint them.
$11,000.
Plastic dip.
I'm not painting. No one's painting those. No shop is doing my $9,000 brakes, taking them off the car and everything. No, I'm good.
They're just brakes,
thing-
Joe.
the thing-
It's 2 caliper bolts.
Yes, but the thing with Porsche that you will understand,
please.
Porsche,
Yeah, please enlighten me.
the sticker is all that matters on these cars. So like if you have yellow seatbelts on the sticker, that's a value add. If you put yellow seatbelts in yourself after the fact, they want it to come the way it was on the sticker. Like it's all about the spec when you go into these like GT cars. You can't just swap everything out. Like I could paint the brakes a different color, but someone's going to have an issue with that when I go to sell it.
Wouldn't people be pissed that you painted the yellow brakes black?
No, not if it's on the sticker. If it's on the sticker, it's okay. It is a stupid, but it would have been Ronald McDonald. You want red wheels, the yellow brake looks stupid.
Change your wheel color.
But I got red accents everywhere.
But I don't
It's
want
going to be
to.
cool. You're going to see it and you're like, that is a sick car.
I'm excited for you, dude.
Thank you.
Some things you should be excited for me. I'm an engaged man now.
Yeah, shit.
Let's talk about
Since
that.
we've talked last on a podcast, you're engaged.
Yep.
You're a cripple.
Yep. I'm a landowner.
No, we talked. No? Really?
No,
Wow. You're a landowner.
Crazy
How's
shit.
it feel?
Feels great, dude.
Yeah.
Joe helped out a lot with the engagement. Joe helped with the engagement, and your boy is gonna help with your wallet on some amazing deals because this podcast episode is sponsored by me. If you didn't know, I own 2 companies, one of which, Sour Strips Candy. You might have heard of them. Guess what? We're running some amazing Black Friday deals. You can save 30%. This is a podcast exclusive, 30%. Right there. Just enter code POTTER30, 30% Black Friday. This is only going on for a couple more days. I also own a clothing company, Everford Apparel. We have stuff for the guys and the girls. Guys, we have casual apparel, button-ups, we have bomber jackets, duffel bags, ladies, leggings, sports bras. Everything is on sale, 15 to 75% off. Plus, you can use that code right there to save yourself an extra 10%. Some amazing deals going on. Snag yourself up some candy, snag yourself up some clothes, and let's get back to the pod. Dude!
I did.
And, so I told Taylor about how my original idea was going to be in If you guys are interested in any of the engagement stuff, not only go watch the engagement video on my YouTube channel, but I talked with Taylor in the last episode, 2 episodes ago, about our engagements. But Joe's kind of behind the scenes stuff. But I told her about how I remember I told you I wanted to do it in Galveston. And I was gonna kind of have you to film all that. What are your thoughts on the entire engagement, the idea, the execution? What do you think?
All right.
From someone who hates everything.
So, which actually, the people that I told about the thing before you did it, all of the girls, I told everyone, all the girls had the same response that I initially did. But like when you look at it from what you did, very thoughtful and sweet. The initial idea, I think, of like, I'm going to get engaged on a piece of land out in Richmond. I think everyone thinks like waterfall, top of a mountain, like some special dinner thing. Like it did initially. I'm like, but it's the piece of land you bought for her to build a family on. You're going to put the tree in the thing. Like when you put it all together, awesome idea. I think it was great. When you just say I got engaged on a piece of land out in the middle of nowhere, like
how did you word it? Like, yeah, Max is gonna be there's a piece of grass out.
Well, no, it was like a piece of land you bought, and everyone's kind of like, really? Like that's how he's gonna do it? But it ended up being.
Let me ask you this, Joe: were all the people you were asking, were most of them single?
They're all single.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, where's your cool engagement story, huh?
Yeah. These are the girls who are like, if you don't make $1 million a year, you can't talk to me. Yeah.
I think my engagement might go down in history as one of the cutest.
It was very sweet.
If you followed the maxi pad journey and you know all the details, that 10 out of 10 engagement. 10 out of 10.
If you put the tree in, yes.
I'm going to put the tree in.
If you forget about the tree in, not that special.
No, I marked it.
I know you did.
110.38, 110.30, 110.
I'm going to drive out there.
Fuck, what was the measurements?
I'm going to drive out there and move the flags. So you put the tree in the wrong spot.
No, luckily I shouted out the coordinates on the video, so I have the coordinates locked in. But then someone commented on my video? They're like, Max, you could just like pull out your phone and get the GPS coordinates of where you're standing.
It's not that accurate.
It's using space technology, Joe.
It's not within the foot. Your GPS is typically, depending on which, no. I do not trust your phone's GPS down to the foot. I think it could get within 20 feet.
I think the great thing is that just that if
Hold up. Your Apple Maps is also based on space technology. Have you never been driving on a freeway and all of a sudden you're like in a neighborhood on the right side and doing some crazy shit?
You know what I hate about the apps? When are they going to increase this technology? When they're like, get off this exit and there's a road on the side of it, and then you're like, oh shit, I missed that road, and you're still on the highway, and it just still thinks you're over there. When will technology know that you're 15 feet to the left?
The GPS is so accurate that you can so it should be fine.
Anyway,
yeah,
super cute engagement.
It was cute. And I had a good disguise.
Yes.
My initial idea was ghillie suit.
Yeah.
Thank God we didn't do that because it took y'all a little while. I would have been sitting there because I would have get there before you in that situation.
I could have expedited it.
Yeah, but I would have had to been laying there before y'all even got there to set up. I would have been laying in the grass for like an hour at least.
Just sweating.
Yeah,
like
and then
bugs crawling on
Yeah,
it.
like if a bug crawled and I like moved and then Taylor was like, what was that? Like now it ruins the whole thing.
What if we're like, what if we were like sitting there just enjoying our salami and we were just here, like,
that's
did that bush just sneeze?
Yeah, it was a cool idea. It would have been cool.
I
don't trust my Navy SEAL training to get me through that.
Joe just starts army crawling closer and is like 3 feet away from us.
I think I could maybe last like 20 minutes in a ghillie suit in a field in the heat. Maybe.
So what was going through your head during it all? Because your job was a high, like you can't fuck that up. Like if
it came out good.
I know, but like if you had messed up the photos or the video, I would have been angry at you.
Yeah. I wasn't worried about messing it up. I was worried about Taylor recognizing me, which she didn't. I mean, she didn't recognize until I walked up.
Nope. She literally was like, oh my God, we're like ruining that surveyor's like
the craziest thing is like I literally just walked back and forth and put cones down and picked them up and then moved them and put cones down, and that worked as a disguise. So that just goes to say that land surveyors don't do shit. Construction workers have very low.
Well, it just goes to show you could literally.
Or Taylor's just really not paying attention. One or the other.
I mean, bro, Taylor, like, if she has to look on a like the cereal on the top of the shelf, she has to squint to see what cereal is because her vision's not that good. So you 300, 500 feet away.
And crazy, one of my very good friend's sisters happened to live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they randomly were like, we're going to go give y'all a bottle of wine or something.
Yeah.
And then when they were leaving, I'm like, all right, thank God these people were leaving. I didn't know who it was. And they drove by me and my wig fell off in the wind. And the dude was like, Joe? And I'm like, fuck, like, go, like trying to like get him to get out of there. I'm like, what are the chances that...
I thought when they stopped to talk to you, I thought they were going to be like, what are you doing? No, like, you're not a real surveyor. Like, I'm going to call the police or something. Oh my God. Were you stressed at all about like getting the content? Or you know your skills.
I know my skills. The one thing I didn't account for, which you edited out, but like at that range, very punched in. So like where you stood up and then where you kneeled was a little off. So I happened to like see it because otherwise if I didn't notice the camera wasn't aiming right, like I would have just been filming a tree the whole time you're getting engaged.
Yeah, I would have been pissed at you.
Because you stood up and then y'all walked like 10 feet to the right to actually do it. I'm like,
I didn't want to ask her on the blanket with like
salami,
a bunch of
grapes.
salami and 12 packs of energy drinks to hold down the blanket.
Luckily, I was standing there and I saw it, man.
10 out of 10 engagement.
It was pretty good.
10 out of 10. What do you think of me now as an engaged man? Anything different?
You know what I want to say, but extra lame now, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you what are your thoughts on because you know the whole like red pill community, a lot of people are very anti getting married.
Really?
You want to Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I know like guys are like anti like not having a prenup. I don't know, they're just anti not getting married. Seems kind of.
Well, I think their idea is just like I used to make a joke way back in the day. It said I can never get a divorce if I never date anyone. You know, I think they're trying to prevent themselves from any. They're just like just so nothing bad happens ever. I'll never get married.
That's a bad way to look at it.
Yeah,
I look at it bad too, though, because I'm like everyone's. I mean, at this point, I think statistically speaking, it's like 50% of all marriages end in divorce or something. It's a high number. It's higher than you think it would be. Yeah, and I think a lot of people going into it now like this is my first wife. Like I think instead of like getting married and be like you're my forever, I think a lot of people are like, oh, like we're gonna get married. If it doesn't work out, we'll go to the next one. I feel like that's a bad way to look at it. Like if you're gonna get married, you should not be planning on this being your first marriage.
Why do you think most divorces happen?
And
let's take out like I mean I guess it only comes down to really like infidelity or I don't love you no mo.
Both. I think it's a commitment issue on people's behalves too. I mean I think so especially when people get married young, you're gonna go through that first like
what's young?
20s.
Okay.
Early 20s.
For a guy being in his 20s. Because I would say most girls are probably in their 20s when they get married.
I think the issue is like when you go through that first midlife crisis, like what am I doing with my life moment that I think all of us have either had or gonna have. I think then it starts turning into like, is there someone else out there? Did I pick the right person? It's like, it's a commitment thing.
When do you think?
Like, is it worth fighting for? Is the other big one. Like, if you start having this crisis of like, what am I doing with my life? Oh my God, like it's so short. I need to do all these things. And now you're wondering if the person you're with, like, is it easier to just get divorced and move on? Or do you want to fight for, I don't know. I think people are kind of weak.
Well, yeah. I mean, back in college and stuff, like I would, like in high school and stuff, you've had girlfriends before, right?
No.
Okay. Well, back in high school and stuff, I don't know if this is like a common thing, but like, did it happen? I don't know if it happened to you or like friends, but did you always hear about people like breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, like every week?
Yeah, I have people my age still doing that shit. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
But you'd be broken up for like 2 days and then you'd get back.
Look at Taylor Swift, dude.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's broken up with and back together on a weekly basis.
That's how she makes all these albums.
True.
That's how she's become a billionaire.
Yeah.
So, okay, what ages do you think for a guy and a girl would be too young to get married? What for guys or what for girls? And why?
I would say if you're a dude, I mean, if you know, you know, but also
if you're a dude at 20 years old.
See, that's where I'm like, I thought I knew everything at 20, and now I've realized that I didn't know everything at 20. I was a fucking idiot. So I would say if you're a guy, maybe wait till you're 25 at least. Like 25 is the first time where like you probably have at least some kind of career going. Mm-hmm. You're not working an hourly job anymore, more than likely. You're probably ready to start a family. Girls, I feel like younger. I feel like girl at 19, 20 is ready to go.
Yeah, but don't you worry that if a girl gets married, and I'm sure there's plenty of, I'm not talking about the outliers, people that have been married 40 years, started at 18, 19. That's a beautiful thing. I'm saying like in today's day and age, I think I guess the only issue I would potentially have is if you get married so young is having that wake up of which it comes down to really just I wish I hooked up with more people. I feel like because it's whenever someone's like, oh, I need to I haven't experienced life. Like, what does that mean? Like, what can't you do with someone that you can't experience life?
And typically that's when
that
they
just
get back
means
together.
It means just hooking up with other people.
Typically they do that and then they come back because they're like, oh, this sucks. But
yeah,
I would say like 19, 20 for a girl. They're probably because I feel like girls. This is coming from like a traditional. I don't think the girl in this situation is also pursuing a major career and path and everything else. Like if that's the case, probably hold off a little bit. I call it the patriarchy.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, like in the situation of like a traditional, like guys probably going to make the money, girls probably going to raise the children. That situation, I feel like at 20 years old, a girl's probably ready to like, not ready, but probably could say I'm ready to get married and it not be like a bad idea. I think a dude at 20 years old, if you get married, it ain't lasting.
Well, I feel like a huge stressor in relationships and definitely in marriage would be financial. Yeah. And if you're going down the traditional path, and let's say you're not gonna, split, but let's say you start having a family super early, and the guy's, the woman is, likely tending to the children, right? That's like her main focus. So the guy's got to bring the bread. Having that financial stress, being so young, that would potentially break the relationship because you're always on edge because you're like, I can't afford. I'm so young. Whereas like, I think if you wait, you got to get your money right. Yeah,
I mean, our parents got like, I think my parents got married when they were like 20.
Well, times are changing.
Oh, I know. I guess that's what I'm thinking. Like, but back then,
isn't it wild that like
a house for $50
Isn't it wild that back then, people got married super young, and obviously, now it's people are getting married older or getting together older, but now when people get married, everyone's just like, ooh, you sure you want to do that? And then when people get divorced, it's like, okay, yeah, no, people are more like, it's more common to like have someone go through, you're more like understanding of someone going through a divorce than you are like marriage.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like social media.
The traditional path is like skewed.
It's social media though, because you didn't hear about, then you knew about the people that were married in your neighborhood, maybe in your family. That was it. You weren't constantly being fed everyone in the fucking world's marriage and their problems and everything else, where now it's like reality TV, all these fucking shows and social media. Now it's like I see 80 people get divorced a week. So now it's a little bit easier for me to be like, oh, divorce isn't that taboo. And then it was like, if you got divorced, you were like shunned. Like your family didn't talk to you. Everyone was mad. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, you're getting divorced? Okay.
And I think a lot of times, whether it be guys or girls who are probably older, we'll say 35 or older, who are like preaching the like, don't get married at all. Like, don't find this person. I feel like misery loves company, and people who are, like that are like, no, this is the best way ever. Like, I'm 35 and I'm at the club and I'm having so much fun.
It'll piss off some women, but they're like, again, statistically, not everybody, but majority of women, there was, I think, I don't know who did the study, but most women, I think over the age of 40, or maybe it was 45, that didn't have kids, I think it was like 80% of the women asked regretted it. It's a huge number. It's like in their 20s and 30s, they're very like, we don't need a man, we don't need kids, fuck all that. But then as they get older, like in their 40s and 50s, they like can't find a meaning in life. Well, it was a high number. And again, not everyone, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very happy without kids, but it was a very high number of women that didn't have kids that once they hit over like 40 or 50, regret not having kids.
Regret not having kids, or regret not like
not having a family, not raising a family and stuff. It was a huge number.
Yeah, well, I mean, hindsight's 20/20. I think it's just so hard at any age to think of like what is. Do you think 10 year now Joe is gonna like if I make this sacrifice or don't do this thing? But everyone's just like, nah, fuck my future self. I'm gonna do this now. But I feel like as a woman or a man, you got to be like what does 15 years from now, like what does it look like in your mind?
Dude, the other thing,
and then you got to work backwards. Like, okay, like if you want to be with a family and in 15 years, like you need to be doing something that are going to get you to that path, because it's not just 15 years you start that process. It's
also, I think we are very selfish people nowadays. Like in general,
I'm not.
Like, when's the last time you went to check on your neighbor?
I don't even know my neighbors.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I was a kid, someone would knock on the door and everyone was like, oh, fuck yeah, someone's here. Now someone knocks on your door, you're like checking the cameras, getting ready to get your gun. It's like, it's a whole fucking, it's a comedian that talked about that. But I think, I forgot where I was going. Oh no.
Selfish.
Oh, I think we're very much like, we want to do what we want to do now. And like, even me with my dog, if I have such a hard time, not a hard time, but like if I'm putting time into my dog nonstop, imagine a kid. Like, my dog doesn't have to go to fucking soccer practice at 4 and recital at 7. And like, dude, once you have a kid, like your whole life is dedicated to that kid, or at least your wife's. Taylor's whole life is dedicated to that kid. That kid's got appointments in the morning. He's got to go to school. He's got to get picked up. He's got to have lunch made at night. He's got to do his homework. Traditionally speaking, You're just going to get home at 5, play some Xbox with the kid, maybe help him with his homework, go to sleep and start over. Taylor's going nonstop with that kid every day.
Yeah.
It's a big commitment. And I think, like, even for me, like, I look at having Senna and I'm like, do I want a kid? Like if I'm having trouble with my dog sometimes, not trouble, but if I'm stressed out with my dog sometimes, I'm like, what am I going to do with a kid?
Yeah, but think of like 40-year-old Joe, 40-year-old Max. Like, I can't imagine any other life than, I mean, absolutely having someone, like, whether or not they have kids, but like, why?
No,
I couldn't
no
imagine.
Chance I'd want to be. Dude, you know, when we used to go out all the time and you'd see like these like 50, 60-year-old dudes at the club and like, no one's like, damn, that guy's so cool. Everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, go get out of here. Like, go raise a family, do something.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine that. And as well as like, you know, the circle, like you would also probably need to have a specific friend group that also is the exact way of, I don't want a relationship. I don't want any kids.
Or you hang, I think what we traditionally see.
I'm trying to get off the kids thing. Not everyone wants kids. I get that.
Yeah. But I think with men, at least, they hang out with a lot younger people to fix that. In my apartment building, there's a couple like 40, 50-year-old dudes that don't have a family, are single, and are wealthy. Yeah. And they're constantly hanging out with like 20, 30-year-old girls.
But you know what, dude? That's the great thing about America.
Do what you want.
You can do whatever you want. And just because my opinion is different than someone else, if they're happy, they're not hurting anyone, I don't give a fuck.
Fair enough.
It is what it is. You know, about this wedding, so Taylor and I, we're planning on a 2024 wedding. So we're already kind of starting. I feel like...
Hold up. When are you planning on a kid? Or has that not come up yet?
You want me to tell you my timeline?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Is this with her or this is your timeline?
This is with her.
This is agreed on.
This is our timeline.
In the calendar.
My life is no longer my life. It's our life.
Yeah.
It's important.
Okay.
You hear that, Taylor? You hear that, everyone?
Yeah.
Our plan, and this is, very... Okay. Married end of next year, 2024.
Yeah.
Right after we're done getting married, okay, start building the home.
Yes.
Home is done end of 2025.
Okay.
Well, I'd say within the last 3 to 4 months, maybe 6 months of, now this timeline can shift a little bit, 6 months of the house being built. So it's like, okay, the house is going to be done in 5, 6 months.
Start blasting loads.
I was going to say we were going to have intercourse.
There you go.
And
we're trying to have a baby. Okay.
Get the black light out.
Yeah.
So then a wonderful, beautiful baby boy or girl will be blessed into this world, into our new home.
You're going to have a girl.
Taylor thinks she's going to have twins.
Oof.
Twins. Taylor sends me all these videos of these like influencer girls, like with little twin girls, and like they're like dancing with the mom and stuff. She's like, "This is me." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's cool."
If I want a boy, obviously more than I want a girl, but if I had to have a twins, I think I'd take girls over boys. I think twin boys are a fucking nightmare because they're just gonna feed off each other. It's like having 2 dogs. Like they're gonna mess everything up, and they're gonna just. I feel like twins. It would be easier to have twin girls than twin boys. Maybe someone that has twin boys and twin girls can.
You know who's the first? Okay, what is the first twin set of boys that come into your brain when you think of like twin boys? I think of the Facebook Van Winkle,
okay.
Those goes.
Honestly, I don't think any twins. I don't know. I think Parent Trap.
Oh,
we weren't even real twins.
I said
Lindsay
boys.
Lohan. I know, but that's twins. That's where I go.
That's my timeline, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, within the next 3 years, house, kids, and I'm excited. I'm excited to have think of it like this. I like to think of like whenever I look at a dude and Taylor, I'm like, this is like team. I mean, we're a team tuning. You're soon to be team tuning, but I was like, this is my like everywhere I go. This dog and this girl, they want to be with me. I want to be with them. When you have a kid, it's like you have like your team.
How do you feel about the name thing? Hot take here.
What name?
Like if Taylor said, "Hey Max, I'm not taking your last name. I'm going to stay Taylor Kessler." Are you mad about that, or are you like, okay? You can be honest. It's fine. I know you're mad about it. No man is like, yeah, I'm fine with that.
I would want to understand why because
what is she gonna do?
Huh?
Obviously she's gonna take your name, but she's gonna go like Taylor Kessler Tuning, or is she just gonna go Taylor Tuning?
Taylor. Her middle name's Lee. She's gonna be Taylor Lee Tuning.
So she's dropping.
The last name.
Okay, all right.
So she's gonna be tuning. She's excited to be a tuning. Dog. She wants to be.
That's a deal breaker for me. I'm like, if my wife won't take my last name, we ain't get married.
Well, why would they not?
Some girl. I mean, the only valid one that I've ever been somewhat okay with is like huge social media following where your name is your brand. Like
that would not. That would
that's
be
the only one. Like
that would not make sense
for someone
to me.
like Heidi Buff Bunny. You're fine. You can be Heidi, but like like people that are Kylie Jenner, I think, would have a hard time changing her name to like Kylie West or Kim Kardashian. I don't think she ever turned her name to Kim West.
Yeah, but then I feel like you're putting yourself. But then again, then you're putting the man as control.
That's the only one I still wouldn't be okay with it. But at least I somewhat understand. Like if you've built an insane name around your first and last name, then I'm kind of okay with, or at least I understand where you're coming from a little bit.
Taylor, yeah, is gonna take.
That's a thing now. A lot of girls don't want to take. They want to keep their name.
You know, I've always my mindset is that these things would never be a problem because like Taylor is exactly this, but like I am a very traditional guy. I want a very traditional girl. I want our future home to be traditional gender roles of man, woman, child. You know, man does this, woman does this, like the traditional way. Like and our values align exactly in that. So I think that would be, you would know very early on if the person, because I think extremely traditional person probably would be like, nah, I'm a brand.
I'm cool with the
bitch.
middle name thing. That's the only thing I'm okay with that. Like if Taylor was going to be Taylor Kessler Tuning, I feel like that's acceptable. You're fine.
Oh yeah. Is that tuning? But you know what's crazy? If you don't have a boy, your last name,
that's why I care about my name so much. I know,
dies with you. That's a crazy way to think about it.
Like I have in my family right now, I have 2 boy cousins that they may get married, may not. I don't know. Then it's all girls and me. So at the moment, I think I'm the closest to carrying the name on. Like if I don't have a kid, I don't think the Benedettini name is probably not going on.
That's a wild way to think about it.
Yeah.
Like if my brother does not have a kid and I don't have a kid, the tuning name will die.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other tunings, but
I don't know them.
I in your family. For me, I'm like, there's not a whole lot of Benedettinis, and I'm sure there are probably in Italy, but like, yeah, it's
yeah, but in your like immediate, just because it's like, oh, the 0.01.
Well, that's the thing. Like if your brother doesn't have a kid and you have a set of girls, that's it.
No, we're gonna have a boy for sure.
But if you can't,
no, if the guy's on top, then you have a boy.
Because that works.
Yeah, it's because like gravity and stuff
pulls the boys out.
Speaking about getting married, future and stuff, bro. These weddings though, expensive. Mm-hmm. Okay, Joe.
You're white.
What?
That's a hot take on that one. Don't cut that. There's a point behind this.
Okay.
Indian weddings.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with this. Indian weddings are insane.
Yeah.
Like $500,000 is a cheap one. They go to like $1 million. They go above $1 million. They rent out convention centers. I'm going to my friend Asim's wedding.
I'd probably need some
weekend.
help if it was a
it's like
wedding.
next week, and it's at a convention center. It's not even a wedding venue because there's so many goddamn guests and
like,
concerts
whoa,
and shit.
ladies and gentlemen!
Dude, I've always wanted to go to one, and I got invited finally, and like they're insane. It's a whole production. It's crazy. Yeah, like I was talking to a friend of mine that is, I guess, from India or whatever. He was saying that like even if you're not wealthy in the Indian culture, you still have an expensive wedding. Like they will put themselves in debt to pay for that wedding. Like you can. I guess it's like a status thing. Like the bigger your wedding is, I don't know, but he was saying like even families that don't have that much money will spend $250,000 on the wedding and put themselves in debt because it's such a big deal to have a good wedding.
Wouldn't that be the same thing of like you're faking it to make it appear? Like why would you put yourself in debt to?
Yeah, I mean, he was saying that his uncle's wedding was like $300,000, and like they don't have that kind of money. They took a loan. I don't even know who loans you the money.
Even if you have that's a expensive ass wedding.
I bet this wedding I'm about to go to next weekend is probably $500,000.
Okay, well let me tell you,
white people weddings are cheap, dude.
What?
White people wedding? We just get a little chapel and some barbecue and call it a day, dude. $10,000, we're good.
No, $10,000 is not going to do it.
You have Miss Texas as your wife, so that's your problem.
We're going to have a magical experience. Yeah. It's going to be beautiful. I'm trying to do my best to be like, within reason, like Taylor, what do you want your because this is only happening once.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want a unicorn, genetically engineered.
Yeah,
unicorn?
Something. I'm more like let's make your dream wedding happen within reality. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And Taylor's not someone who wants to, she's amazing. My fiance is amazing. But so we're starting having a bunch of meetings with planners. Yeah. So we want, when you go with a planner, you can get the like, hey, you're still pretty hands-on. It's a little cheaper, but we want like the full package of like handle all of it for us, right? Handle the planning and then just tell us what stuff to buy, handle the design, all that. We want as much we can take off our plate so we can focus on other things. Bro, some of these planners, some of them are like, okay, what I kind of thought, let's say, we'll say there's like some that are like around or under $10,000. Okay. And then there's we had some meetings with people, Joe, that it wasn't a flat rate. They wanted a percentage of what your budget is. Like 20%, 20% of whatever your budget is, that's their fee. Plus,
okay, my budget's 10 grand.
Yeah, I know, but that it doesn't make sense, Joe. And I would want someone to convince me, because here's my analogy. I'm gonna explain it to you really simply, and then you go, and then you tell me if you have a debate of why you think you could justify a percentage. Okay, so let's say it's 15%. So if I get $100 napkin stamped stationery stuff, or if I get $500 napkins still going out. I just wanted a nicer napkin, so I have to pay you more because I wanted. It's the same thing of, should I tip more to a bartender who has Clase Azul, or no? It's not.
Surprisingly enough, I'm gonna side with the percentage makes sense on this one.
What?
Only on a big basis.
You're crazy.
Okay, I would say that on like a $10,000 wedding, there ain't that big of a difference. But the difference in $1 million wedding and a $250,000 wedding is a lot more planning on that $1 million wedding. It ain't gonna be the same. It's a bigger venue. It's more guests. It's different level of entertainment and shit coming out. Like, that planner's got to do a lot more work on $1 million wedding than they have to do on a $10,000 wedding. It ain't the same. It's not. I mean, $1 million wedding, you're talking 1,000 guests minimum. I mean, like, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay. I'm seeing the angle of where you're going, but
now, yes, just in your world where like it's the same venue, just different level of food and stuff, I agree with you.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking completely different. Like a $100,000 wedding versus a $400,000 wedding, or the flat rate needs to be drastically more on the $400,000 one. Because like, I can't say it's a $10,000 flat rate and then you'd be like, all right, we're playing a $20 million wedding.
Then
like
here's what it should be. Then it should scale based on the amount of people you have, because that should change. But the amount of money that I'm spending on the wedding should not dictate how much money.
Feeding 10,000 people Big Macs or 1,000 people a 5-course meal, I'm still planning more on the 1,000 people eating 5-course
Joe, if I have to feed 1,000 people a 5-course meal, or 200 people a 5-course meal, it's the catering people that are planning for that.
True. Yeah, okay.
Hot topic.
Yeah.
Hot debate.
Yeah. The bartender thing, you're right. That's stupid.
Yeah, no, it really much is. But it's crazy, and I'm wondering, like,
what is your budget?
Is that something you can publicly?
What do you mean? Yeah, no, I don't know. Is that bad taste?
$100,000.
Oof.
I think that I'm prepared to spend around that amount of money.
Like Taylor is a very simple girl. It's not asking for much. It's a $100,000 wedding. That's it. It's $100,000,
bro. When the planner,
that's a good no. I'm not
is a tenth of it. Then the venue is another.
$100,000 wedding is a very nice wedding in our culture.
I think a
$50,000 wedding is probably a very nice wedding.
I think we'll be much under the 100,000. But I'm more look at it, and this is just the way I'm thinking. I'm more like when I look back in 20 years or something, am I going to be like, oh, I wish I didn't spend an extra 10 grand on like a nicer wedding? It could have been, but it's not going to matter to me. It's not going to matter. I'd rather have that moment.
See, I have a hard time with that kind of stuff. I feel like the ring should be expensive. I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. The wedding, it is a cool night, but I'm kind of paying for everyone else to enjoy it. Because like realistically, I don't think the bride and groom have a great time at their wedding. They're constantly having to like get up and talk and move around and do that.
You're mansplaining, bro. Because
maybe I just don't. I guess for me, I'm like, all right, $100,000 on a wedding or $50,000 on a wedding, and we make a badass movie room in our house that we'll use every night with our kids.
Yeah, but I'm not saying with $100,000. I'm not saying like Taylor go buck wild. I think realistically we'll be closer to like 50, 60.
Yeah, I just feel like I have a hard time spending a lot of money on like events. Even when we went to like F1, which that was all comped, but like if it wasn't, I don't think I would pay to go to that. Like things that I'm only going to be at for a very short amount of time. Even with trips, I have a hard time. If you're like $10,000 to go to Disney for a week, like it's going to be cool, but is it $10,000 cool?
Yeah, but as I feel like it's just different as like I'm extremely looking forward to marrying Taylor. I'm excited to have these memories with all of our friends there, have some amazing photos, videos, experiences, memories, a cool time. It's gonna be a great fun.
You're doing
time.
The wedding for Taylor though.
Well, I think that what I'm getting at is that it's this. I think for most women that is like this giant moment, and it is for a man as well. Yeah, but like so, I'm like whatever I can do within reason to get you what you want is what I'm open to.
If Taylor today was like, hey, Max, actually I want a small wedding. We're only going to spend $10,000. You're not like, fuck, I don't want to do that. You're like, okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool.
But again, I think you know kind of like what type of girl is like what type of wedding they're probably going to want.
I can tell you this.
Are they going to want Lake Como with 600 guests and it's $1.5 million? Like you'll probably know that early on in your relationship.
I can tell you this: the divorce stings a little harder if you spent $200 on the ring and $500 on the wedding. You're throwing away a lot of money. That wedding day is not very special after you get divorced.
Me and Taylor don't joke about divorces.
I like it. Maybe make you think harder though. Spend a lot of money on the wedding. Probably don't want to get a divorce.
I think if you go into a marriage like thinking about like the money you're wasting, like, man, I hope this doesn't. If it just doesn't work out, man, I'm gonna be pissed that I spent so much on this wedding. I think you're not in the kind of the mindset you need to be in.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
You have different thoughts?
No, but I haven't been in that situation. I do know people that have been wealthy that have then gone broke that do look back and the first thing that, at least from the people I've talked to, the first thing that they're usually like, I shouldn't spend that much money. It's on like events and like experiences. It's not usually materialistic items. Some people are like, oh, I shouldn't have bought that Lambo. But a lot of times it's like, I shouldn't have gone to the club and spent $50,000 on bottle service and I shouldn't have rented that yacht for a week.
Yeah.
I don't think the wedding fall. I think you're fine. I'm just saying like, I think the experience, spending a lot of money on events and experiences is probably the first thing people, maybe not. Maybe some people are like, oh, it's an experience.
Here's the way I look at it, dude. I'm never going to go broke. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to keep on working. I'm going to keep on grinding. I'm going to keep on making that cash. While we're, I talked to Taylor all about the wedding. Now I'm talking about you all about the wedding stuff. This is what I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on, Joe. Okay. We got some random quotes. I started looking around. Videographer costs. I've gotten some.
Wait, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
How big's your wedding?
Like 150 people?
I'm going to guess a realistic quote, $6,000. I'm going to guess some people hit you at like 20.
People hit me. I've just started looking and like friends and they're like, yeah, probably around like 10 or so, 10 plus. So Joe, as a videographer who's the best of the best, says $6,000.
I think a fair number. Like it's one day of your time. You're going to probably edit all of it in one night. Like it's one of those things where like you can charge more because what it is, but like realistically,
that's why they're charging more. Because as someone who's been filming and editing for a decade, doing it all myself, understanding how to do it, understanding the work that goes into filming videos, I understand all of it. I get it. One day of, a day of some planning, a day of running around, stressful, working, and then if you can't edit a wedding video in 48 hours, if that's your only focus.
I've seen some wedding videos that are like movies though. So it depends on the quality.
I've seen some wedding
quality you're going to get.
I've seen some wedding videos that took like a month to get back to them. And it was like, and I'm like, you should have just had the groomsmen and bridesmaid hold GoPros.
If it's 10 grand, but they're shooting it on Reds and it's 3 videographers all day, I'm okay with it. But if it's one dude with an A7 IV and he's $10,000 for him to walk around with a gimbal all day, no. Like I gotta the production value because like I will give you it costs money to rent all that equipment for the day, labor, 3 or 4 videographers for the day. But if it's one dude, it's just Oz walking around with this little camera, like 10 grand for a day. Because look, if you say no,
but here's the thing, it's hard for me to.
What are they gonna do? They'll negotiate with you because that wedding is $6,000, $10,000 in one day.
Yeah.
They don't have any other $10,000 shoot lined up that day. I promise you that. No one else paying 10 grand for that day.
I'm a unique specimen because not only can I look at people's examples and know if they're trash or not, like immediately. And I think weddings are something important that like you should hire people who have shot weddings specifically. Yeah. I think it's a unique skill set in itself. But I could shoot a wedding. Okay, I've never shot a wedding. I think I could shoot a wedding. Mm-hmm. But because I know what goes into like the work aspect of it, like I feel like I'm an elite. I can vet people out more because they're not going to be like, well, it's a lot of things. But like, actually, I know exactly what it entails. They're gonna be like, I have to mix and master the audio. I'm like, do you?
I'm bad with this stuff because like I did weddings. I shot probably 3 weddings, but I was in high school. We had Canon T2Is. They were shit. I think we charged like $2,500 for a wedding. But
they were probably trash videos though.
They weren't that great. They were probably 720p. This is not, and this is when I was in high school. So that's.
And here's the thing: I'm probably going to pay someone $10,000 to
as long as it's good. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, it's like I want the memory, but I'm not trying to like.
Bro, you got to get a photographer too. That's
I know.
That's another probably $5-6
I know.
Yeah. And that guy's really not doing shit. That guy's just fucking snapping some photos with autofocus and then editing a batch in Lightroom with apply preset and fucking ship it.
You know, speaking of Canon and Sony, when I was in Iceland, my friend was getting married. The photographer lady, she was shooting on a Canon, and I mean, we're in a really beautiful church. It's super quiet. All I hear is I'm like, silent shutter.
So a lot of photographer.
How would it in a wedding you want?
A lot of wedding photographers I've noticed, a lot of professional photographers don't believe in like the latest and greatest technology. Which same in like in our world with tech. Yeah, but like same with like I'm in software and tech, and there's a lot of like our missile defense system for the United States is on some shit that's 40 years old. Like they don't use the latest and greatest. I've noticed a lot of like professional photographers and videographers don't like to use the latest and greatest.
Is that like
so like they could be the best wedding photographer in the world and they're still using like a 5-year-old 5D that doesn't have silent shutter and stuff.
Is that like my mom was just in town and we told her kind of our wedding date and she's like, oh, and she gets out of her purse and a little like, and she's had these things her entire life. She has a little calendar like this and she's like, oh, let me write it down. I was like, Mom, you can put it in your phone. She's like, no, I really like just this little notebook of my calendar. I'm like, Mom.
No, I think the real professional photographers don't feel like the tech's gonna help them. Like they don't think they need it, and maybe they don't. I mean,
I guess the reason I'm talking, and again, I feel like people are gonna take that as like, oh, bashing all like people's work. I'm just more like I'm explaining how expensive weddings are and what goes into these things. So it's wild. And I think when people get married and when people die, you can take advantage monetarily of how maximizing your service costs to those.
Yeah.
You know?
On the flip side, funerals are fucking expensive.
Like coffins, your family member died. We're super sorry. We had this this casket here, but I mean, if you really loved them, you'd put them in this even nicer casket. I mean, you don't want them in this other casket.
Well, that's the crazy thing is like I see all the time where like if someone passes away and they'll start a GoFundMe to help pay for the funeral services, and I'm like, it shouldn't cost.
Keep talking.
It shouldn't cost $30,000 to bury your loved one. Like that's crazy to me that like you have to start a GoFundMe to bury someone that passed away.
Are you legally allowed? Because I think, I mean, it's kind of, either me and Taylor are going to be holding hands in a grave together, buried together or something. Or
you're a lot older than her. She's getting remarried for sure.
I'm 7. What?
Yeah.
I'm 7 years older. Don't you put that evil on me?
Yeah.
Or we're going to get cremated. Question, can you just, like, is it illegal?
Just burn a body in your backyard?
Like, could you just be like, I love you so much, like, on the fire?
No. I want to say no.
If someone dies, do you have to record it? Like if they just naturally died, like they were 99.
There's kind of, and I don't know anything about this, but we had a family friend that has a ranch and they've buried all of their loved ones.
Yeah, like you can bury your dog in your backyard, right? Like
that's different. But there are like big ranches here in Texas where like the whole family's lineage is buried in the graveyard behind the house, and they just keep doing it. And I don't know.
I'm sure you have to like let people know, be like,
yeah, I don't know like what the legal, like if you wake up and your husband's dead, like you want to bury him on your land, technically you can, but I don't know. I think outside of city limits, I don't think you can like bury Taylor in your backyard and where you live. But I think if you live, there's a fine line there because I do know of people that have buried their loved ones on their land. I don't know if you have to like call the cops and they have to come do an investigation and then they give you the okay. I don't think you can burn a body though. I don't think you can just throw it on the fire. Like,
well, I mean, not in like I'm hiding the body way of like, oh no, I'm burning them. I'm gonna take all the ashes. I'm gonna scoop them, put them in an urn.
That's
I'm gonna shoot a flaming arrow into the boat.
I don't even know who you would ask that question to because if you Google that, I don't know how you
how to burn a body. Yeah, that's not gonna go well. Yeah, weddings are super expensive, and life is getting super expensive. Joe, I want to show you a video. It's a minute long. I'm gonna put it on the screen for everyone else, but I want you to watch this.
A minute.
It's a minute.
Okay.
It's an interesting video. People want to watch it. Okay. It's a girl basically complaining or discussing how life is very difficult, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Okay. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put this video. If I could freaking click on it. Here we go. Okay.
Takes me like I leave here like I get on the train at 7:30 and I don't get home till like 6:15 earliest, and then like I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like I don't have energy to work out. Like that's out the window. Like I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But like I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and like like people that drive to the office, like you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but like I literally get off, it's pitch black. Like I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like how do you have time to like meet like a guy? I don't know. Like how do you have time for like dating? Like I don't have time for anything, and I'm like so stressed out. And I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But like, am I so dramatic? It's fine.
What's your thoughts on that, Joe? What's your thoughts on I feel like the new generation is finding out that when assuming they're not going to go down the social media path, traditional jobs.
Quickly clarify that it maybe not in corporate, but at least in like normal jobs and like construction and shit. 9 to 5 is banking hours, dude. 8 to 5 or 7 to 4 is actually like a full work day, at least in our world. I mean, 9 to 5 is like pretty nice.
Well, yeah.
I mean, all right.
So basically the synopsis is went into the work world. I mean, in that situation, she like has to, commute in because she doesn't make enough. So whatever, I understand the commuting thing probably, sucks. I did that when I was in DC and the metro sucks ass, really sucks ass. But there's a lot of videos nowadays of basically people are like, working is hard. And they get out of college and they're like, I have a marketing degree. Why am I not making $200,000? I have experience from my marketing degree. Why am I like, how am I ever going to buy a house? I have to work. I'm so tired after work. What do you say?
Well, for one, on the college front, I've been telling people not to go to college for a long time. I've been team no college. Like, especially nowadays, you don't need it. You can learn everything online. All these companies have dropped their, like Google no longer requires a degree. Apple, like they all dropped that requirement. I hate the thought of like, you spend $100,000 on your degree and then that's your experience. I saw some chick was complaining about like, they said I don't have enough experience, but my degree is my experience. Like, no, it's not. You're an entitled fucking college kid that's all pissy about making, like you don't have any experience. Mm-hmm. Shut up. Second off, yeah, it sucks. That is it. I mean, that's part, I think again, this goes back to social media. It's like they see these girls making $100,000 a month on OnlyFans and shit, and then they don't actually want to go work because they can go do that, which like, I don't blame them. I would love to do that too, but like it's work. That's how it is. I feel like 30 years ago, people like took pride in going to work and like working their way up. Now it's like you worked for fucking a year and you didn't get a raise. Life's ending. Might as well quit. I don't like, at the same time, there is like broken ladder right now, I think, in like the corporate world, but that's just life.
You know how like our parents probably think that we have it super easy and complain about everything.
Yeah.
Do you think each generation just thinks that the next generation is like a shittier version of them?
I know that the next generation is the shittiest version of us, dude. We're working out, and I hear some of the shit these kids say, and I'm like, I didn't say that when I was like, this is not just to our generations, but like y'all are actually kind of dumb. Like this is a real
with kids growing up literally from like the moment they're born, like having social media, so they're social media babies, and everyone wanting to be a social media superstar,
babies, dude.
or making $100,000 a month, shaking their booty on the internet and stuff. Do you think that's going to have a long-term effect on like the world progressing?
Yes.
Because now,
well, look. So luckily for us, that generation is going to be entering the workforce in any meaningful way right as AI and automation is starting to take over. So maybe we don't have to deal with these people because we can just automate them out of a job anyways. I don't know what they're going to do, but yes, I think this all the time, especially with social media and stuff. It's like their attention spans are so short that like they're used to 8-second clips of little hit of dopamine every fucking 8 seconds.
And it's like if everyone, and I'm not saying like everyone can't be like an influencer because, like in terms of like some people have it or don't. I'm saying like everyone can't be an influencer because then like there's like if everyone's an influencer, no one's just all they do is just watching other influence. Like someone has to.
I can tell you right now, it's all social media, like cons of social media and what it's doing to society, because people that are currently like 30, 40, 50 don't have any issues with working. It's just the younger generation. Like I noticed even like corporate world, like guys that are 40 that are making 75, 80 grand a year don't have any problems with it. They're not complaining nonstop. They don't think they're going to quit if they don't get that next raise. It's always like the 24-year-old. It's like, I've been here a year and I'm not making $100,000. I'm going to quit and go do my own thing.
Well,
It's like maybe it's because it's baked into their minds that they have to be their own boss. They have to be a CEO. They're told they're inferior if they're not making $200,000 a year. So we need to do it in the first year.
Like, that's exactly what it is I think the perception of money is so skewed that it's being thrown out. I mean, obviously, I've gotten some ridiculous brand deals and made a bunch of money that people who are actually working be like, you got what for doing what? And but I think now money's so skewed that everyone is basically trying to swim upstream to be an influencer because they're like, I'd rather go broke trying to be a rich influencer than make an average salary. They're like, no, I'd rather make 10 grand a year to hopefully make $1 million a year being an influencer versus, going to a career, working your way up, starting at 40, 50, 60, 70, and like, I think most people in most jobs, unless you're a C-level executive, I mean, ask the average person who has been at a company for 15 years, be like, are you making like $700,000 now that you've been here for 10 years?
Typically, obviously inflation and stuff has moved the numbers around, but typically you're very hard pressed to make more than about 120 at any job.
Yeah.
Unless you are the owner or you're working at like Google as an engineer or something. But for the most part, you're going to cap out about 120, maybe 150 if you're just fucking killing it.
Well, I think anything above that would just be like your
C-suite
or your incremental like yearly raises, and you're above that.
They cap too. I mean, at some point, it doesn't make any sense for me to pay a receptionist $200,000 a year. I just fire and go get another one. Like, yes, you've been with the company for 20 years, but I'm paying $200,000 to answer the phone.
What about Donna on Suits?
I think that's the problem, and maybe that's part of the problem in America as a whole, though, or in the world as a whole, is like, yeah, it sucks. You spend 40 years of your life working for a company, and like you're going to get capped at 75, and that's just where you're going to be for the rest of your life. I get both sides of it. Like, I don't know what the solution is.
You think people should be capped, and even if they like work an extra year, you don't think you should give them like a...
No, because here's the problem. If I told you 20 years from now, you're going to pay your inventory manager for your warehouse $300,000, but right now you're paying him 75, and the only reason you're going to pay him $300,000 is because he stayed with the company that long. He's still doing the same job. Wouldn't you rather just fire him and hire a new guy at 75 and start that climb over again? Or do you say, hey, you've been with me so long, I'm just going to lose $225,000 a year on you because you've been here so long?
I'm a man of the people.
It doesn't matter. Any CEO is going to look at that and say, okay, get a new one.
Well, I think I look at it from a different lens, and I would say, I think anyone who is working at you should essentially always be... this is a weird way to say it. I feel like you should always be being promoted because you should always be doing things in the company that you're like, you shouldn't be doing the same role.
But that cap is going to be 120-ish. You're not going to pay one of your warehouse packers $200,000 a year. It ain't going to happen. Unless they unionize, which that's a whole nother fucking thing that's been happening now, and no one's smart enough to realize what's happening. A lot of people are smart enough, but all these unions are demanding more and more, right? So I think Boeing just went through it, GM, just Ford, all right? But they just jacked the prices of everything up to compensate for it. So yes, Ford is now going to pay their production line people an extra, I think it was like $10 an hour. It's actually pretty high. I think it's like $30, whatever. I guarantee you in the next 2 years, all of Ford's vehicles are going to go up whatever percentage change that is on that labor. And now we have to pay more money for the vehicles. So yes, they're paying you more money, but you got to spend more money for the vehicles and the houses and the groceries and everything else. No one understands that raising minimum wage just means that companies will compensate for that, and our dollar is worth less because now we have to pay more for all this shit. You're still making the same amount. That's something that I've struggled with a friend of mine that was like, he started his job 5 years ago at $60,000.
Okay.
He told me now, 5 years later, he's at 75. Well, if you look at it through a lens of inflation, he's making exactly the same as he was making 5 years ago. But he doesn't see it that way. He thinks he's making 15 grand more than he was then. He's doing good. But no, actually, cost of living has gone up 15 grand in the last 5 years. You are not making any more money today than you were 5 years ago. But people don't look at it that way. That's the problem. It's like, it's real easy to be like, yes, all fast food workers need to be paid $18 an hour. But when you do that, the fucking Happy Meal is now $15, and now your extra money is just going right back into
but I think everyone is not looking at that. They're just like
at a higher number.
Yeah, they're just like,
good.
Yeah, but I don't care if everything else costs more money. I'm making more money.
I saw somebody post the other day that it was like a Big Mac, fries, and a drink, and it was like $13. And it's like, that used to be $5.
Even, I mean, Chipotle getting ridiculous. I'll get $16. I'll get like, I get it. I'm paying for extra meat, but I'll get rice, chicken, and steak, extra meat, salsa, and a tortilla on the side, and it's like $18. And I'm like,
but
what?
The people scooping the chicken can make an extra $3 an hour.
Well, they're not giving me enough chicken.
Well, when they buy groceries, they have to spend that $3 on the it's not, we're not actually helping anything. We're just making the dollar worth less.
Inflation's getting crazy. Interest
hard for
rates.
people to realize this,
interest rates. Another thing is everyone, I'm going to say these Gen Zers. What are we? What are we? Besides cool guys.
You're a millennial.
I'm a millennial?
I think I am too. I think there's like a subset between millennial and Z. I think I'm in that. I'm 94, whatever that ends up being.
I thought all those like I thought those were just like internet made up terms. I didn't know those were actual categories.
I think I'm definitely a millennial. I think you're a millennial too. I think anyone like after 80 was a millennial.
So when I think I'm like goofing on my mom, calling her a boomer, she actually is a boomer?
I don't think they actually named those guys the boomers. Baby boom. Maybe they are named baby boomer. I don't know.
Well, all these generations, everyone's, bothered by the high interest rates. Joe, mortgage rates are at all-time high, what, 8% right now?
You know what's great?
Yeah.
I've been talking shit to him recently. It's all these goddamn realtor, all the girls that decided to get the real estate license when real estate was popping off because they could make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And now the only people, if you haven't noticed, the only people that are like buying a house right now is actually a good idea are fucking realtors. I keep calling them out for it. It's like no financial advisor is like, take a 9% interest rate on your house. But all these realtor girls are posting on their stories all day. They're like, oh, actually, it's a good time to buy a house. Don't let them talk you out of it. Like,
But what if 5 years from now it's 15% and then they're like, told you.
Well, lock yourself into a fucking lease for 3 years. Go rent an apartment for 2 years. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do, but don't take a 9% interest rate. That's the other thing. It's all these.
As Joe just sold his house to someone probably for an 8% interest rate.
That's not my problem. I got out. I made my money.
Yeah, but shouldn't you be like, don't do this. Don't buy.
Well, honestly, they got
because you're just caring about yourself.
5 or
this
6.
This full circle.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't care if they're going to go into debt.
Yeah, you put yourself in debt. It's not my problem. I believe the same thing with college loans. Like, you put yourself in debt to go to college. I ain't paying to get out of it. That's another big, like, oh, cancel all student debt. Like, canceling it means someone else has to pay for it.
No, that's wild.
Yeah.
To just cancel.
They started doing it.
What's crazy is
but
people
again,
are getting.
No one realizes that is causing inflation. Like, it's all coming back to us. It doesn't matter.
Money printer go.
But no, on the house front, everyone's like, oh, just refinance later. Well, again, rates might still go up. Mm-hmm. And refinance later doesn't matter. If you refinance in 2 years, you're still throwing away like $35,000 in interest over that fucking year. Like, no one wants to talk about that part of it. It's like, the thing is, and a lot of people will point back to this too, interest rates are back to 9%. They were, I think in the 90s and early 2000s, like interest rates on a mortgage were like 8, 9, 10%, double digits sometimes. So really, it's not like they're high right now. They just went back to where they were in the early 2000s.
I got my house at like 3.1.
I had like a 2.9 on my house before I sold it.
That's what my car is. My car.
Cars too. Cars are at 7% now.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have under 3 on my car.
Yeah.
And then under 3.2 on my house or something like that.
Cars are like 7, 8%.
But okay, this is I've talked to you before about this, but I feel like this is like a hot angle on this. Mm-hmm. And maybe the people are going to say this is my skewed because I'm better off now than I once was. But I feel like it's hard to complain if you're like, Joe, I want to buy this can of drink, Sour Strips Ghost, by the way. This is the drink at the house. Okay, you have here, take that. I'm like, Joe, I want to buy that for $500,000, and you're like, okay, I will sell to you for $500,000. Like, but I don't have 500. And you're like, okay, well, I'll lend you 500 at a 9% interest. I'm mad at you about the interest rate, but it's like, I want something that I cannot afford, and I'm mad that the person or the company that I need to borrow money for because I'm trying to buy something that I can't afford, that I can't make the payments on. I'm mad at how much, like, the person lending the money.
Yeah, because you can't afford it.
Like,
but there's nothing you can do to afford it. I mean, I guess that's the bigger issue.
I mean, couldn't you just give me my drink
so
back?
in like, and it might be way off on this. Someone feel free to correct me, but in like 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? We always complain like, oh, houses back then were only $50,000.
89 was wild.
But also people made a lot less money. The average salary was fucking $20,000 or something. Mm-hmm. So obviously, but if you look at it as a percentage, I believe in like the 70s and 80s, the average person was spending less than 10% on their mortgage. Whereas right now, people are spending almost 50% of their income on their mortgage. If you make 10 grand a month, 5,000 of that is going into your mortgage. So I think that's the bigger issue, is like the percentage of rent and mortgage is way higher now than it ever was before, regardless of the price difference. So, I mean, you can't afford, if you make $3,000 a month, you can't afford $1,500 to $2,000 a month rent or a mortgage.
Well, now it's probably cheaper to rent than it is to.
It is. Well, honestly, my building just went up. I actually locked in at a pretty decent time. But yeah, I mean, rents are going to start going up too because apartments are getting full because people don't want to spend the money on their rate. Something's going to have to happen, or we're just going to have a crazy homeless epidemic.
I mean, people, you would think it's either lower your expectations of what you want in a house or just kind of like wait longer. Like, for example, I didn't buy my house till I was 31. Like, I feel like the people that are, stressed about how much expensive it is, they're like trying to buy a $500,000 house at 23 years old. I'm like, you don't need to buy a $500,000 house at 23.
There's also a lot of money out there. Like, I think I saw that most houses that are being sold, at least in Houston right now, are cash buyers are like $800,000 up. So most people buying cash homes in Houston right now are in the $1 million range, which means a lot of people out there with $1 million cash, which is crazy because in my head, I'm like, no one has $1 million liquid to put on a house. But apparently it's the upper end market in Houston is actually still doing very well right now. It's the mid range and lower end that's just all sales of stock because that's who's taking loans.
Well, yeah, I keep hearing about like the middle class is like screwed and like
can't do anything
and it's I don't know, and I do sympathize to an extent of people of like costs are going up and if they're not making enough money and then again they're looking on social media at people just pouring Cristal on their Rolex in the club because they're drop shippers and OF people making crazy money. So then you just like you're comparing yourself to everyone. Then you get depressed because you can't afford a nice house and you think that your life sucks compared to these influencers. And it's just a vicious cycle that I think we're in. But one mindset I have, and this is maybe my older generation, but wouldn't why don't you just work harder and try to make more money? And I think people lose their minds when you say that.
Yeah, the response to that right now is going to be, I don't want to say that a lot of it is luck, but there's definitely a lot of luck
for sure.
in it. Either you're born into wealth at this point or you were extremely lucky. Like you are a very, very small class of people that have made it from nothing. Most people that are successful at this point were probably born into at least some level of success or at least some connections. Your uncle had a job somewhere and got you in the door. If you have no connections, if you have no family money or anything like that, first off, you're kind of forced to go to college because no big company is going to give you a shot if you don't have at least some kind of resume or experience or something. Then they're going to start you at basically, let's say $50,000 a year, which might be high. But right now, grocery bill is fucking $700 a month. Rent on a shitty apartment's $1,200 a month. Your car payment's going to be, you really can't live on that. And then how do you move up in a company if you're already, I mean, I almost sympathize with the girl you showed me, surprisingly enough. It's like if you got to wake up early, go there, you got to cook your food, you got to do this. There's no time to go really above and beyond in that job.
Yeah, but
the other thing is people aren't getting promoted within. If you look at the hierarchy, at least with these bigger companies, they almost always hire outside. And I think that's a lot of people's gripes with companies. It's like a lot of companies nowadays that when a management position opens up, half of the time they'll go hire a manager from another company and bring them in. They very rarely actually promote a lower guy into a higher position. They almost always hire outside.
But I don't know if I fully agree because it's like, while I do sympathize, but I think it's a mindset that I get this person was lucky. I don't have that. I live in this area, but it's like,
you can't think that way.
I know. It's like, well, then just give up. Then just like, if every way you look at to make more money is not only if you're looking to outsource your outside external factors of like, look at these influencers, putting that aside. Yeah. And it's like, if you're like, oh, well, like my company is like this and I can't do this. It's like, if you just complain, then like, how are you going to get further in anything?
I agree.
Like,
I agree with that.
Put your head down and
saying there's also there is a real problem right now with the way that all that is set up.
Yeah,
and I think you can work really hard and get through it. But I think it's easier said than done.
When I was in college, okay, and I stayed working at a job where I was making, I think I capped out in college making $10 an hour. And I just worked a lot. I worked like 6 days a week. But like I would look at other people that, were in other job roles or whatever, making a bunch more money than me. And I wasn't like, fuck, my life sucks. Like I just like, oh, I'm going to figure out like my path is different than this other person's path. I'll just figure it out. Like I wasn't like stressed every day and I wasn't making any money, but I was just like, okay, I need to lower how much I'm spending. I've never been into debt because I never bought things I couldn't afford. I think
that's the crazy thing now is like, I have friends that went to college, like community college, stayed at home, didn't spend a whole lot of money on school, got a job and went and did their thing. And then I have friends that spent $150,000 going to a fucking party school to go party every day and experience this new life that they wanted to go do. Now they're 150 grand in debt and freaking out and can't make it in the world. I think it's definitely like ways to do it. And I think a lot of people fall into that. Like, I don't know. It's a whole fucking.
What's your best advice?
It's going to be a solid 50-50 split on the comments, by the way.
Well, I mean,
50% people will be like, fuck yeah, work hard, do it. And the other 50% will be like, no, it sucks out here.
Well, I'm not trying to say you can only either be like, you know, oh, poor these people, or like shut up and work harder. I think there's a lot of crossover on of like specifics and luck, and you can look at all of our situations and where. But I just think if you have the mindset that the whole world is against you and everyone else is winning, but you're not because of X, Y, and Z, because I live here, because I don't know this person, because that person went to this event and got connection with, then it's like, I think that's a wrong way to kind of like navigate through life.
Here's a tough pill to swallow that a lot of people can't even comprehend. Mm-hmm. Not everyone is meant to be successful. Not everyone can be successful. Not everyone is the queen bee. I think that's the hardest thing. It's like, that's my gripe all the time when I see these like business coaches. I'm going to make you blah, blah. Like, no, you can't sell 100,000 people a course that's going to make them all CEOs. They can't. There's not enough fucking businesses in this world for everyone to be a CEO. There's not enough need for market demand to all of us go create our own companies and do our own things. If every person goes and creates the next Alpha Elite, there's not enough people buying fucking clothing to make that work. I think that's the hardest thing, is that everyone right now with social media is ingrained into them that they're supposed to be it. They're the main character, right? We can't all be the main character. It doesn't work. It doesn't work without everybody having at least some kind of class system and working their way up.
What's your advice to people?
It's like, how do you tell somebody that like, maybe you're not supposed to be stuff? You know, like we have to tell everyone you can do what you want to do. You can be anything you want, but we really can't. You can't all do what you want.
I think everyone should strive to try to be a Jeff Bezos.
But I don't think you can have the mindset of like, I didn't make it, so the world's out to get me. Like, fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, the world is what it is, you know? And I think even a lot of people's positions, I think a luck does a lot of play into it. But I think if you have the negative mentality, I think there's just two, glass half full, glass half empty. Mm-hmm. It's like perfect analogy. What is your best advice for people to grow their wealth if they don't have the income they desire?
For me, it's always been skill set. I picked up Shopify development heavily before all the fucking drop shippers became popular and stuff. And for a while there weren't a whole lot of people that were proficient enough in Shopify to build these custom themes and do this stuff. And that's what got my foot in the door with all these companies. Now, that's a little bit harder to do.
Let me ask you.
It's only been 10 years, but in the last 10 years, it's gotten a lot harder to learn any coding side of it. You know, when everyone's like, go learn to code. I think that was like a famous, like some governor or something told farmers they want to make more money, learn to code. And it's like, that's kind of a shitty thing to say. But it was a real thing. Early 2000s to now?
No, bro, like for a long time, I used to always, even in college and right when I graduated, I was like, man, I wish I had like learned, paid attention more in my...
Dude, during COVID, I had friends that no college degree, very little experience, honestly kind of sucked dick at developing. Like I wouldn't even hire myself, landing jobs at $200,000 a year at Facebook and shit. And it's like, how are you doing this? Because the companies were just on this hiring spree because it's such an influx of cash.
There was like these big nerds in my school, bro, and I would hear stories that when I was at IT staffing making $35,000-$40,000 a year, and I'd hear about like one of the kids, I was like, you know, the computer guy, like, and the thing, and like just got hired at, you know, Dell or one of these other companies making like $150 a year right out of college. Like
that bubble is popping right now. All the companies are on firing sprees. They're all laying people off. They're not making as much money as they were 2 years ago.
Here's a scenario. Here's a scenario. Coding, everything you do in terms of your nerd stuff you do, coding stuff, is now, it's the future. Everything is taken over by AI. No one needs you anymore, Joe, okay? Mm-hmm. Your dad has sold the cabinet shop.
Yep.
How would you start making money on your own? What would you do?
I can't do coding.
Can't do coding. Cabinet shop's gone.
Probably go into cars. I go back into cars. I sold cars.
I'd ask you for a job.
Yeah. I sold cars for a while. I have enough connection. Am I allowed to use connections?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have enough connections with dealerships and shit. I'd probably go get a job at one of the Porsche stores, or I'd just go sell cars. Those guys, you can make a lot of money doing that. It's annoying. Definitely an annoying job, but you can make a couple $100,000 a year just selling cars. That would be my actual advice though. Like,
wouldn't people not
fucking robotics? Because no matter how good AI gets, like robotics, as we automate all this shit, like the guys that know how to work on robots and fix robots are going to become probably the most important people in our society. As everything gets fucking automated, like that would be where I would,
you know what I would do
be headed right now.
I sometimes I feel like I'm already on that path of being a washed up social media influencer.
Yeah.
But if people are like, I hate candy, I hate clothes, and I hate Max tuning,
Work a Jeep.
dude, I think I'd go into literally, I would go into like, I think I'd go into like being like a plumber or like an electrician or something.
Oh, did you watch the South Park episode?
No.
That's the whole thing. It's like AI goes so far forward that like the billionaires are now the like handymen because they can charge anything they want.
These jobs, like AI ain't taking over. Like
that's
my toilet's
robotics.
broken.
That's where robotics is going to be the next big, like even if right now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about going to college or something, like robotics would be where I would go. Because AI is
just
we're
trades.
approaching very
just a
quickly.
Trade.
Like you're saying coding is going to go away. Like we are approaching that pretty quickly. Like these big corporate companies are using AI to write software now. It's only a matter of time before AI can use AI to write software. And at that point, developers really aren't needed anymore. But someone's got to go fix all these robots and shit.
Well, it's wild because there's such a hard cutoff and then there's justification. It's like, for example, if your whole job was like, yeah, I edit someone's podcast. I sit through the multicam and I swap between the cameras and all that. Now, what took you 3 hours now takes you 30 seconds. Justify to me how I still need you. They'd be like, well, I have to make sure it did it correctly a little bit.
Rotoscoping. You know what that is?
Is that like when they look up your butt?
No. It's like when like in a video when you mask somebody out. It's like
I know
Marvel,
it is.
The whole thing shot on green screens. You would think you just like I drop the green screen and it goes away, but really it's not that good. Mm-hmm. And to like do that and then they have to actually sit there and mask out the person frame by frame. That whole market, there used to be dudes that all they did all day was rotoscoping. That's going away right now. AI like masking is becoming very, you know, you tap on a photo on your phone and it highlights it. That's actually starting to be used in Hollywood. And now you have these guys that their whole job was rotoscoping. That's now almost completely automated, or it will be in the next couple of years as it gets better.
So what does everyone do?
We've talked about this multiple times. We don't. We're all fucked. There's no, we're all fucked. The only future that even works, and I'm talking like dystopian 500 years from now, is everything's automated. You have people at the top, and then government we have to go to like communism. It's the only way it works. Government has to pay everybody to live because there ain't no jobs for us.
They took her jobs?
Country. Ain't no jobs for us.
They took her jobs.
There really won't be though. Like you'll have your CEOs and stuff. All labor jobs will go away in the next fucking 200 years.
Because robots.
And you got to pay those people something. So then we have to go to this dystopian future where the government has to step in and pay people not to work because there's no jobs for them to work.
So you're basically saying my great
jumpsuits, eating goop for lunch.
Like little paste.
That's that's
chicken
the only way it goes. That's what a lot of people were like, hey, the invention of AI takes us down that path. And like, it really does. Like as it gets better, because it's only going to go up from here. It's not like next year's update for AI is going to be worse than this year's. Like it's just going to keep getting better. Eventually, we're all going there. We're all going to be living in apartments that look the same and not going anywhere all day. Man, seen WALL-E?
Yes.
We're going to go WALL-E.
I'm gonna be the fat. I'm gonna be the fat guy rolling around.
They're all fat guys rolling around.
Man, technology's kind of crazy, man.
Yeah.
I feel like but you gotta. I know we've said this before, but you gotta just like with hey, you're not making enough. You're complaining about it. Just figure something out. Like same with that. Technology takes over. You're gonna curl up in a ball. Yeah. Figure it out.
You're gonna cry.
You're gonna cry.
We are. I will say our generation, like we hit a pretty good time.
Oh yeah, we're the best.
Yeah, because I think 200 years from now sucks. And I think 200 years before now sucks. I think we're right at a good time. Maybe like 10 years earlier. Like I would have loved to be a software developer during the .com boom.
Nope, I want right now. This is the best.
Also, I probably wouldn't have gotten a code at that point because it was so nuanced. But like that would have been the dudes that were selling like MSN, whatever, these websites for hundreds of millions of dollars that were shit websites, didn't even do anything. That was like a golden age, like the inception of Facebook and all that. Like we were a little too young for all that.
Every generation thinks that they're the best generation.
Ours is good. Like AI hasn't put us out of jobs, but also we can use it to do the annoying stuff. We have robot vacuums in our houses and stuff. Like the annoying things are starting to get replaced, and we also like aren't being replaced ourselves.
There's an old Dane Cook skit way back in the day, and he's like talking about how every generation is like we're the best generation, like every other generation. Like I can't imagine living in that generation. And he's like talking about like these old. He's like back in the day, they like monks when they would like there'd be like the main. I'm thinking monks. Like main monk would like.
Main monk
would like give a speech. Monks. Do monks talk? Who's the one that takes the silence?
I think monks.
Okay, there's people that are talking, and then the way that they would make a bunch of versions of what they said, there'd be a whole 10 people, and they'd have they'd chisel into thing of what they're saying. And he's like, do you think people back then, he's like, and the person would just be like Latin, and they'd be chiseling what they say, and to make copies, they would have 10 people doing it. He's like, the bit is like, do you think one of them ever looked at the other guy like, man, what did they do before this?
Probably. Yeah. Shit.
Technology is wild though. This is a random thought I had when Taylor and I would go to the Cancun or whatever, all the times you didn't go with us that you said you would go. Do you ever go to the beach and do you feel kind of do you ever take your phone out and you're on your phone, you're kind of oh, I shouldn't be on my phone, I'm at the beach? Or maybe you walk by someone oh my God, those people are just playing on their phone at the beach, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a generalization of people would, it's kind of taboo, you don't be on your phone, enjoy.
I got you.
But if people are reading a book at the beach,
that's fine.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Why is reading a book at the beach fine? But
at least for me, I think it's the meaningfulness of the content. If you're looking at your phone on the beach, you're probably not learning something or
but reading reading Grey's Anatomy on the beach is,
I think it makes it's a mental sweat. I like to break a mental sweat. I think if you're on your phone at the beach, you're probably just swiping through meaningless fucking videos all day, watching girls shake their ass and bullshit iPhone games. Do you know what ads get me?
Tell me.
The ads where it's a really shitty iPhone game and the person is intentionally bad at it. And I've never downloaded one, but I'm always go left, and they intentionally go right and die. And I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, it's pull the needle out to let the water fall. And
then
then
it's do the wrong one. I'm like,
and then
it works. They know what they're doing.
Sometimes I've downloaded the games and now there's community notes that are basically this is absolutely not what the game looks like.
Yeah. I don't know when they're going to crack down on that shit too. That's false advertising. I've seen that a lot.
You told me so that video I showed you was on it's a guy, but he's essentially a meme page at this point.
Yeah.
He just posts things to get clicks, whatever. But Joe's told me on Twitter that Joe follows a lot of meme pages on Instagram. Yeah, you.
Oh yeah.
You follow a lot of meme pages. Joe sends me memes all the time. You're basically
I only follow cars and memes on Instagram.
You're basically a girl, bro. Taylor all day is sending me funny videos and stuff.
My videos are actually funny though. Mine are the dark shit on the internet. I'm sending you shit where you're oh fuck.
But so every now and then on these ad accounts or these Twitter accounts, these meme pages, every now and then you'll see a very blatant ad or a promotion of someone else on the page. And then Joe, you said that you will unfollow them.
Oh yeah.
But that's how they make money.
Yeah.
They have to.
I unfollow if I see an ad. If you've promoted, if I see a girl, any kind of OnlyFans promotion, I report it immediately. On Instagram, I will report it. Even girls that I know personally, if you post a bullshit photo of your ass cheeks or something, I'm reporting it immediately. I report nudity. Honestly, 90% of the time I report it as child pornography. So I feel that's high up on their list of things to address. So I feel someone at Instagram sees it immediately. I always get back a message from Instagram it was not removed.
They're gonna ban you for false banning.
I report it all the time.
So
fuck you, get off there.
So your mindset is feed me entertainment all the time.
Yeah.
But if you try to make money and post something that isn't funny to me and you're posting an ad, you're out.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Or I think false advertisement should be just fucking sued forever.
False advertising should be sued?
Yeah, I see, I'm sure you've seen the things too, where it's one of the meme pages will post this teacher was suspended for sending nudes to her thing, and it's an OnlyFans ad. It has nothing, it's not even a real news article.
Joe's mad because he got an ad that said this pill make your wiener 2 inches bigger.
Dude, I got an ad that said women in my area wanted to hook up, but 400-pound dude showed up.
Hot single women are down the street from you. Oh my God. Really?
Dude, I was telling you the other day, one of the guys at work, I don't know what he did. I'm not accusing him of doing anything, but one of the guys at work's Android phone has crazy viruses on it. And I've had an iPhone for so long, I just forgot that phones can get viruses.
Oh yeah.
On iPhones, we don't have to worry about. Maybe there is some weird use, but his phone had pop-ups nonstop of different stuff. I'm what did you do,
bro?
That's crazy to me. You open your phone, you have a fucking virus.
So how how we talk about the games being misleading, and then you're saying getting tricked by the wiener pills or something like that. It's crazy because all the time. So now community notes on Twitter or on X will say someone will post these videos. They'll be especially with all the shit that's been going on, they'll be insane thing happened, overseas, and here's a video. And then you'll see the community notes under it. That's this is from 2018 for this.
That's been happening a lot.
And people are probably getting so seeing it before that corrected it and like, oh my God, now I'm angry at this, and this. And I feel like that skews.
That's happened a lot, especially with this. We're not going to talk about either side, but the conflict right now in the Middle East. That's constantly, I'm seeing from both sides, like videos and either AI generated photos or videos that are from 7 years ago. But yeah, you don't know that. And if you don't look at the little note at the bottom, you're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it turns out it happened 7 fucking years ago, but they're trying to use it to stir things up now. And it's like,
but so obviously I feel like the argument would be like, oh, this is why you shouldn't get your news from, let's say, Twitter, right? But here, now I've never been someone who's watched the news. Okay. So I don't know. I've heard that there's a lot of stigma, would that be the word, of like, whether it's like what Fox promotes or CNN,
Fox
which
is right-leaning.
Okay,
typically,
I have no idea.
CNN's
I have
left.
no idea.
They all have the same corporate overloads, though.
So
they're all
do
owned
you
by the same fucking people?
So do you think how people are trying to mislead people on like Twitter? Do you think that's like, would Fox and CNN, are they trying to like mold people's? Because hold on. I thought the news was just here is what is actually happening.
No.
I didn't know that
It
it's
used to be.
like
Yeah,
agendas. Or,
so and Fox might have been the first people to fucking do this. So it used to be.
Which one do you like? I was going to say a lot about you.
I usually do watch Fox, but I'll switch. I am someone that will go out of my way to watch the same article from like CNN, Fox, and NBC.
I can't wait for the comments. People are like, he would be a Fox watcher.
Yeah, no. But I genuinely do look at, because there are some things that even on Fox where I'm like, that's not right. Or they'll cut the interview a little bit short and leave out what, and I'm like, that, I know, I've seen this on Instagram.
So you think they mislead people too?
I think everyone misleads people. The problem is, so it used to be the news. The news was the news. Earthquake happened. That was it. Fucking earthquake happened. Now earthquake happens. Global climate change has caused this earthquake to happen. Like, no, just run the fucking story of the earthquake happened. You don't need to put your little opinion on the front of it. A lot of the news organizations recently have started doing opinion pieces. And as long as they put opinion piece on it somewhere, they're allowed to say whatever the fuck they want because it's not the news
And tiny
anymore.
little asterisk at the very bottom.
The problem that we have right now, and a lot of people are upset about, like government stepping in for disinformation, right? Like I think during the Trump and Clinton election, was it 2016?
I have no idea.
The government started spinning up all these like disinformation police to try to stop disinformation from going out on social media. With the First Amendment, you might have heard of it.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah. With freedom of speech, the hard thing is like you can't knowingly incite violence. So I can't post, go to Max's address and kill him, please. That's against the rules. Well, actually, I just said it and I'm allowed to say it right now. But like you can't call for violence.
That's when I'd invoke my Second Amendment right,
There
Joe.
you go. But you
Bear
don't, you
arms.
don't have any Second Amendment right now. We got to take you to the Second Amendment store.
Right, just slap you with my wiener.
That's the Second
You'd be
Amendment?
out.
Yeah. All right. Anyways. Like, was that a fly? Anyways, so the problem is you have the First Amendment for free speech.
That'd be like the hot dogs.
That really doesn't have any legality on disinformation. If I tell you something that's not true, I'm not going to jail for it. Like that's not.
It's
so
not
now
illegal
the
to lie.
question
Well,
now
unless you're
is,
on oath. Under oath.
yeah. So now I guess the problem is like the government wants to step in and stop disinformation on social media platforms, but they're not legally doing anything wrong. Really, the government has no legal standing to stop disinformation. If I lie to you and say the president's doing something he didn't actually do, like there's not any legal standing to go against me. It's not your job to go find it. It's a hard thing to say right now because like Instagram and like X are now putting these little things at the bottom like disclaimers because it's misinformation. They can't take it off though. Like you really can't take it off unless I'm inciting violence. Unless I say something that's not true and that's going to cause people. And I guess maybe that's their angle is like this disinformation is rallying up support for something that shouldn't be there. Let's take it off the platform.
See, I thought that the news was like a regulated thing. Like, could you just start like Joe News and put it on the TV somehow?
Yeah.
See,
I'm not going to get into certain things though. Like I'm not going to get into the White House for the press conference because I'm a fucking YouTuber. They let in who they want. I think the news is all like integrity. So like the CNN has gone from one of the top dogs to almost bottom of the fucking list.
Who's the most favorite news channel?
I think most viewers is Fox right now. I think Fox consistently has the most viewers on their shows. At least some of their big ones. Like,
who's their main
Chris
people?
Hannity.
I thought you were say Chris Hansen.
No, Chris Hannity. I think like before they fired Tucker, like Tucker's show I think got the most views.
He's the guy that went into Twitter and started.
Yeah.
Why'd they fire him?
Because they said it was unrelated, but he is a big like, oh, the voting machines were against us, against Republicans, against Trump. And that company sued Fox for slander, saying that like because of y'all, we had to like do all these things and no one wants to use our machines because y'all lied about it. And turned out they did lie about it and they got sued for like, it was like $1 billion lawsuit or something. And then Tucker got fired like 2 days later. And a lot of people thought it was part of that deal was like, you're going to pay us X amount of money and fire him. They claim it was unrelated. But yeah, Tucker went from like the top dog on Fox to getting fired. And they really never gave a reason why.
God dang it, dude. You can't trust anything.
Yeah. The news has become very politicized. Same with, okay, I think the same thing with teachers. I think if you're an elementary, like if you're a history teacher, you teach history, what happened. That's it. You don't need to put your opinion on it. But now we have teachers that do the same thing. If they feel a certain way about an event in history, they will portray it in a certain way to their kids.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
But that's happening. Everyone wants to put their opinion on fucking everything. I feel the same thing. Dude, honestly, I kind of feel the same way about us.
What?
Like social media people. I don't think social media people should be doing anything political.
Well, that's a prime reason why I mean, besides, I guess, you know, I talk about open discussions on a podcast, but when anything political, but I also am not informed because I think if you're a political person, like if your whole channel is based on politics, okay, give your opinion. But when I see like NBA players fucking, this is what I think should happen on this, like no one, dude, you're playing basketball. Go play basketball. We don't need your fucking opinion. Didn't someone say go dribble a ball and they got mad at her?
No, I think LeBron gave his opinions on like an election. I think someone was like, go dribble a ball or whatever.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. Like you're a professional basketball player. You're not
this
a
just
fucking
in,
political
Joe
host.
Benedettini hates LeBron James. The world's just set on fire every single day. Like everyone's, it's
getting worse.
Guys, fall in love, find your person.
Let's go back to the world.
Have some kids, and just don't like. I don't get stressed out by the world. I get stressed out when I got a lot of like when you know a pallet went to the wrong warehouse. You know, that's like my stresses.
I will say you said a while back, like, what can we do about it? Like, why should I stress about it?
Yeah.
And recently, I've kind of been living that.
I don't want to be ignorant to it.
No, but I think you're right on, especially like I've been watching the news recently with the whole thing in the Middle East, and like I'm stressing out about it. And like I'm not flying to the fucking Middle East. I'm not gonna go unless I'm forced to. Like I ain't going over there to fight. So why am I fucking so stressed about this?
Yeah, getting stressed about what the news is, and nowadays you don't even know if it's real or fake. And you know, I'll leave us on this cliffhanger right here. But you know, speaking of fake news, Joe is a huge anti-moon landing person. Joe is sure that the moon landing did not actually happen, and we can dive into that on another. I'm sure you have a lot to say about that.
I mean, I'm not sure of anything, but. Logically looking at it.
No, see, I would disagree. I think there's videos and stuff, Joe. Mm-hmm. There's Photoshop wasn't out back then. Mm-hmm. We'll find out next time. What's next for us, dude? I mean, dude, we're gonna film in more episodes. Yep. I think like Monday, me and Shawley or something coming.
That'd be a good one. Me and Shawley. Actually, me and Shawley have a lot of the same opinions on things.
I don't know if it's a good or bad thing.
We're gonna game up on you probably.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm the host.
Yeah.
I can steer this shit, baby. Right. I'm always going to come out looking like a cool guy.
So I'm in the next episode, too.
Yeah.
2 back to back.
Well, I probably.
All right, cool.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm always trying to be like the middleman because I'm trying to like win people over, but I feel like I probably pissed off everyone on here.
For this one?
I'm like saying how like.
Why?
Oh, because I talked about how like things cost a lot of money and it's like, well, Max does her livelihood. I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to bash. I'm just trying to explain that. I don't know. Like I film videos and I think it's crazy to charge $10,000 to film a day and edit a video.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it for 10 years and I don't make $10,000 a day on making my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
My videos are anyway.
Yeah. We'll talk about the next one.
Talk about it on the next one. As always, guys, check out Joe's. You might have to blow the dust off his YouTube link, but his YouTube will be down there.
It's down there, dude. Hey, for the record, my videos get more views than yours. That's it. I mean, they're also on the platform for 6 months at a time.
Don't make me dive into clapping back to your comments about that.
Do it. Go look at your video from 6 months ago and my video from 6 months ago, and who's got more views?
Your views are people that are just random people looking for the car. They don't care about you, Joe.
You're talking shit about the whole car community?
No, yeah.
Idiots on the internet?
You know, people watch my videos because they're like, Max is a cool guy.
Maybe.
They're just like, Joe, stop talking. Show me the car. I don't care about you.
Guy.
Show me the car. I'm like a mushroom, dude. I'm a fun guy.
All right. Let's wrap it, dude.
New episodes every single Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, unless I don't post one. That will be all for this fantastic episode. Leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're on any sort of podcast streaming service. Give us a 5-star review. Don't know what it does, but I think it helps. We're back, baby. Don't be sour. Thank you so much for tuning in. Eat more sour strips. Never forward.
It's hot in here, dude.
Yeah, I need a hoodie,
It's a
bro.
little hot. Are we getting lunch or are we not getting lunch?
We can get lunch.
Get lunch?